That's great. Sheryl Crow. I'm a big fan of Sheryl Crow. She's great. But they also ran a story, I understand, Junior, on Good Morning America about nude gardeners in the city of Dallas.
Yeah, the guy instead of you.
Yes.
Those guys were holding up poinsettias in strategically located spots.
So nude gardening is breaking out here in North Texas, and that's a story. And they have shelved the story about the toy guns, which is fine with me. I really don't care. But I was told that the story was going to run Monday, and I just feel like now you guys don't believe me that ABC News came to my house because they're not running the story.
I believe you. They took it back, and the editor said, "We can't do that."
He was looking like Effie the Eagle when they
Right. I only had a shirt on, and here's the thing. This is what I think happened. You remember Monday when we talked about this, and Gordo started making fun of the, the camera shot of us walking through the neighborhood and stuff like that?
Right.
I think they got so bitter that they just decided, well, the hell with this. We're not doing this story now.
Maybe. You need to call him and find out.
Well, Fernando placed a call to...
voicemail.
All right, you want to call it?
Sure.
All right, call his number. This is Mike Van Frem, who's the correspondent with ABC News that interviewed me last week. Very nice guy. And he told me that the story was going to run on Monday in Good Morning America.
This is ABC Network News in Dallas. For the news desk, press 1. For David Herndon, 2. Press 3 for Mike Von Frem, 4 for Lisa Hunter, 5 for Ken Collins, 6 for Kathleen. For local news, call WFAN.
Let me dial it again. We can't do it live.
Kathleen
like
McDonald.
Where do I know that?
Yeah, she's been in news a long time. She's the producer. She was very nice. She was the producer of the whole thing. But you've probably seen her. She's been around some different Texas markets. She's a very attractive woman. Yes, she is. So anyway, yeah, the story was supposed to run on Monday, and then there was the possibility that they would have a live shot, and then I didn't hear anything from the producer of Good Morning America, so now I'm thinking it's not going to happen. All right, this is Mike Van Frem. Maybe he's there now. I got his voicemail earlier. What number should I leave?
787-1310.
Okay.
This is Mike Von Frem. Please leave a message. I'm away from my desk right now, or I may be on the other line. But if you leave a message, I'll get back to you.
Hi, Mike. It's your old friend George Dunham of Sports Radio 1310, The Ticket. We're calling you on the air here because we hadn't seen the story on Good Morning America, and just wondered if our smart aleck comments about the piece that we mentioned on Monday have now canned the entire report. So call us back when you get a chance at 214-787-1310 or pound 1310 on your Sprint PCS line. Thanks. Why did you do that in the background?
Do what?
And run more nude gardening stories.
Yeah. Get back to us about the nude gardeners.
He's got a weird name. Mike Von
Right.
Frem? Or
Fremd.
Fremd. Not friend, like you're my friend.
Right, Fremd.
Fremd.
F-R-E-M-D, I think it is.
Well, he needs to change that.
Very unusual name. All right, so that's not really a big story, but there are some big stories that we should be concerned about. Like this one. We keep seeing these smallpox stories. Between the age of 32 and older, health employees, public health or hospital workers, that they will have the option to get these vaccines. And like Parkland's already ordered 1,000 doses of the vaccine. How scared should we be of smallpox? If they're thinking about doing this, and hey, I'm all for preparation. That's great. Even if they don't think it's a very slight chance of happening. But they must have some decent information that the bad guys have the smallpox virus and they are fixing to use it.
Yeah, I think they know that.
God, that's scary.
Supposedly, there were, I think, only 2 places in the world that had the smallpox virus. The Center for Disease Control in Atlanta.
Right.
And someplace in France, I want to say.
And someone sold it.
And maybe the old Soviet Union had it too.
Yeah.
I think they had it too. Yeah, they did. And that's where they think it was sold, because we didn't sell it, the French didn't sell it, but they think that the old Soviet Union sold it to a couple countries, one of those Iraq. or someone in that area, and it got in the hands of those people. So I think they're pretty sure that they've got it. Now, how sophisticated it is and how sophisticated their means of dispersing it are, nobody knows. But you can't take many chances with something like that.
So if they, so all the health officials get their vaccinations, and by the way, it's not just a shot. Apparently they make very small skin pricks,
Right.
15 times or so, and then they put the vaccine on there and they allow it to seep through.
Right. That's weird.
It is kind of weird. Did we have this as kids? We must have. Right? Were we vaccinated for smallpox as we were kids or not?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I guess maybe we weren't. I know we were for chickenpox and polio.
I think when we were kids, for the most part, it had been eradicated, and I don't think there was a need to vaccinate.
Says they haven't been administered since 1972.
Yeah, I don't remember getting it.
So I guess maybe we didn't. But, so let's say they do all the health officials, and then they say, general public, you can come get it too if you would like.
There's no way I would go.
Why not?
Well, I don't know where I saw this, but there is a small percentage, granted, but a small percentage that get really, really sick from this. Maybe it's not full-blown smallpox, but they get really sick from it. I'll take my chance. Now, if we're in the throes of war and it is announced that a smallpox bomb or whatever has gone off in Dallas, then I'm going to get it.
But you'll wait till that moment.
But I'll wait till that moment.
Well, they say this is the little fact sheet from the World Health Organization that as few as 1 in a million would die from the reaction.
I would be that one.
So your odds are pretty good.
They're pretty good, but I'm not willing to take that chance.
A lot of people will have mild reactions, like you'll get sore arm, fever, and all sorts of body aches.
Mm-hmm.
And some may be a little more serious, some sort of allergic reaction. But, again, 1 in a million.
Well, we have 280 million, so that means 280 will die from the vaccination.
Wow.
So that's the terrorists scaring us and getting 280 more chalked up on their side.
Yeah.
So would you go get it?
I don't know. I think I would, I think I would lean towards getting it. If it looked like, and again, I wish we knew more, and it gets back into that thing of how much did the public know. I wish we knew more. If they're suggesting that all these health officials get the vaccine, I'm thinking that they think this is going to happen somewhere, or at least it's going to be attempted. So how do they do it? They don't drop a bomb. They just douse a ventilation system somewhere at a hotel and then hope that it spreads that way, or
I guess so.
That is sporting event or somewhere else where there's going to be a lot of people together?
I'm assuming they have it, but I would guess that they don't have the means to attack us on a real widespread basis, that they probably could send a couple operatives into a couple office buildings here and there. But I don't think it's going to be, one day the whole country is all of a sudden coming down with smallpox.
We got the great Robert Riggs on the line. Hey, Robert, from Channel 11, how you doing? Oh, are you with us? Robert Riggs, Channel 11 News. Are you with us on Sports Radio 1310 The Ticket? How about now? Oh, okay. Well, thank you, Robert.
Hello, America.
That helps us out a little bit. Is he doing a report on this, Fernando? He
says he's done a report, and he had interviewed the general in the KGB, the former KGB that worked with that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So he would have
So
some
why
good
would he
information.
leave us after 5 seconds of telling me that?
I don't know. I guess he wants to be nominated on Friday morning.
So smallpox eats away the skin, right? Until you have no more skin, and then it eats away your innards.
That's what you told me. That's where I'm getting my smallpox information.
I think that's what I've learned. I think that's what smallpox is.
All right, now we got Robert Riggs from Channel 11. How are you?
Hey, guys, I interviewed the KGB general that ran the entire bioweapons program in the Soviet Union.
Wow.
Who was one of the few people in the world himself that had a PhD in anthrax.
Wow.
Whoa.
But he told me they produced smallpox by the tons.
Whoa.
In the tonnage. And there were only 2 places that smallpox was still supposed to be kept. That was at the CDC in Atlanta and in Moscow. But we signed the bioweapons treaty promising we wouldn't develop weapons. And the Soviets behind our back in the 70s took their smallpox sample up into northern Russia, into Siberia, and started developing it into a biological weapon.
Jeez.
The problem is that it is so contagious that a terrorist can infect themselves with it. And you could literally walk through DFW Airport at a busy time and spread smallpox through the whole country. It's that contagious.
Wow, so that's how they would do it.
Be like a suicide bomber. He would infect himself and then walk through an airport.
You know, no one even thought about the suicide aspect until 911. They were already gearing up. They thought they would use misters or something like that. When they saw the guys were willing to commit suicide, that's what really scared everyone. They realized, that you can inoculate someone and have a human time bomb walking around. The last time they had an outbreak of this, an infected person who didn't know they had smallpox walked in the door of a hospital. Later, the postman he passed going out the door died of smallpox. The infected patient never made it beyond the first floor. They had patients in the hospital die on the third floor later because it had got in the ventilation system.
Whoa.
Oh, Robert?
Okay, so how long does it take for this disease to start tearing apart your body?
I think it's around 10 days or so. There is a time. If you've been exposed, there is a window of opportunity. But once that pox or that sore begins to appear and they just cover your body, it's a horribly disfiguring disease as well. That's kind of it. At least one third of the people die.
So, and if they're telling hospital officials, health officials to start getting the vaccine, then they think that they're going to try it, don't they?
Yes.
Golly.
That's their worry. It's just the vulnerability because it is so contagious. I got it as a kid. It's the only disease ever eradicated from the face of the earth.
Yeah.
And I've still got the scar on my shoulder where I got it because they literally give you a strain of the disease, a little portion of it, and you get this giant pox. And those of us that had got it as kids still have a little bit of immunity, and we'd have to get something updated.
Yeah, I was going to ask, how long does it last?
Well, it only lasts about 20 years.
Wow.
So, but the problem is that they know when they gave it back in the 50s to school kids and everything, there's a percentage of the population that will have a severe reaction, and there's a certain percentage out of 1 million that will die from it.
Well, hey,
you're in effect kind of giving yourself smallpox.
Right.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how your body reacts to it. But hey, we appreciate the info. We needed some help, and you gave it to us. Thank you.
That's scary stuff.
It is very scary.
Boy, it is.
There is the great Robert Riggs from Channel 11. We appreciate his help this morning. Up next, it's Gordo's Corner.
Is smallpox all that bad? We'll discuss next.
Oh, come on.
KGCK.
Jerry Jones may have been madder Sunday than he has been after any Cowboys loss in recent memory, but he's trying not to overreact by chopping off heads.
It's not a good time for me and I think for our team to be making coaching changes. We've just completely changed our offensive philosophy.
Cowboys in search of an extra corner since they don't know if Derrick Ross can play Sunday with a bad hip, but Devon Hawthorne won't be coming back. He's going to likely end up with a job with the Niners. The ticker is a service of your neighborhood Applebee's. So check out their new Texas menu, like jalapeno poppers, just $3.99, and riblets for $8.49. In Dallas-Fort Worth, it's got to be Applebee's. Our next ticket ticker is at 9:30. Breaking sports news first guaranteed. I'm Rich Phillips reminding you to remember the time you spend listening to Dunham Miller Mornings on Sports Radio 1310 The Ticket.
The Cowboys are on the road to take on the New York Football Giants this Sunday afternoon. Our countdown to kickoff pregame show begins Sunday afternoon at 1 on Sports Radio 1310 The Ticket.
I'm going to go over my list again of the 5 players that the Cowboys have to cut before next year in order to get better. Coming up at 9:30. It's 15 minutes from now. Right now, 9:15 on Sports Radio 1310 The Ticket. And it's time for Gordo's Corner.
Well, maybe it's not.
Oh, yes, it is. Gordo's Corner is brought to us by True Luck Seafood Steak and Stone Crab. If you want something like that for breakfast or dinner or possibly lunch, just go to True Luck's.
Yeah, I don't think they could do breakfast.
Oh, they don't?
No.
Well, I mean, you can go and
Great
buy
place
it.
for lunch and dinner, though.
You can go and buy it and then have it for breakfast.
Yeah. You can do that.
All right, moving on.
Okay.
Well, I've just received tons of email about our Muse in the News segment today.
No.
Which started off as a regular Muse in the News and quickly degenerated into a big shouting match between all parties on the morning show about the actors who sent a letter to President Bush saying that they opposed the war.
Mm-hmm.
And Giorgio went off about this, and Junior and I were
What?
We're bugging Giorgio about it. We got about 3 or 4 people who were just absolutely whipped by it and doing the old claim of they were P1s, day ones, but now they don't think they can listen to the station anymore.
Okay.
I always question their loyalty then, if they're P1s, day ones,
Yeah.
and then discussion of an actors list made them, they don't know if they can put up with it anymore.
Yeah.
Something we've done many times before.
Let's let actors and actresses run our country.
My fellow Americans.
No, stop it.
I got this email. Fox News Fair and Balanced Reporting had Mike Farrell on yesterday to talk about Actors Against the War, and they had David Brenner on talking about Actors for the War. Actors for the War include, who do you think? You know, it's going to be the same old
Schwarzenegger, Jean-Claude Van Damme,
Tom Selleck,
Bruce
all the violent
Willis,
guys.
Tom Cruise, Robert De Niro, Harrison Ford, Denzel Washington, Jerry Seinfeld, the Owens brothers.
Much better list.
And David Brenner talked about how these actors are against the war, that they do not work for the CIA and cannot see all the evidence that they have on Iraq. And that's why they're, just like you said, Giorgio, they don't have enough information to be against the war.
Okay, to the actors who are for it, I don't care about them either. Who cares?
Well, you do.
Why?
Because
No, I
you're
really
a big
don't.
David Brenner fan.
I can care.
Yeah, that's a
David
good
Brenner.
list, but that kind of invalidates the list when their spokesman is David Brenner, a guy who hasn't worked since the 70s Tonight Shows.
Oh, there were plenty of spares on the against the president list, too.
Well, I'm not saying that there
know. I'm
weren't.
just
I'm just saying
comparing-
Fernando said, wow, what a great list.
I'm trying to determine what I feel about the war, and I think I lean towards the list that signed the petition against the war. I think there's more star power there, so I'm now
that's
against the
what's dumb
war.
about it.
Which list had the better-looking actresses? That's the list I'll lean towards.
That's against the war. Kim Basinger, she's great. They only
Oh,
have
yeah.
David Brenner over here on the for the war side.
I always thought you didn't like her because you said she had halitosis.
No,
She does
that's
not.
Michelle Pfeiffer.
She does not.
And then speaking of email, I get one from a P1 doctor, Dr. Scott Wise, and he clears up some confusion about the flu shot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Good.
he says it's made up each year by the manufacturer using various strains of the influenza virus that the Centers for Disease Control anticipates will arrive here from Asia and the rest of the East. So the exact makeup of the shot varies from year to year. Now, the flu shot protects only from influenza viruses. And there's tons of other viruses that are responsible for cold and flu symptoms, like the rhinovirus and one really disturbing one called the Coxsackie virus.
I think that's what I have.
But the flu shot offers absolutely no protection against any of those infections. And he says, in all probability, people who say that, hey, I got a flu shot and I still got the flu, that they,
Idiots like me.
that they never really truly had influenza. They probably had what Scott Wise calls the viral syndrome. I'm assuming other doctors call it that too.
Yeah.
But which gives you flu-like symptoms. But he says that patients infected with the influenza virus are usually brought in by their spouse or family members because they're too sick to even drive.
Where did he get his medical degree?
I think DeVry, it says here.
Hey, he took advantage of all those commercials he saw while watching
No,
all the reruns.
That does make sense.
I've actually met the great Dr. Scott Wise, and he's a good guy. He cured my herpes.
Was he the guy that examined you at the age of 21 and made you disrobe?
No. He's the guy who examined me at the age of 27 and made me disrobe. So just that's a clarification there. So it does protect you against the flu. It's just that there's a lot of other things that cause flu-like symptoms and colds.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And speaking of email, once again, over the past 2.5 years, Gordon, I've sent numerous emails to you guys. Just for fun, I thought I would add up the number of replies from each of you and summarize it on the attached chart. This comes to us from Mark Davidson. And here is the chart. And boy, this is exciting stuff. Would you like the top 9 list? I guess he emailed 9 of us. starting from the person who replied the least to the people who replied the most.
Sure, go ahead.
Who do you think's going to win on the morning show?
I don't know. I've seen his emails, and if you email us that many times, I probably won't respond every time you email us.
See, that's further proof that George distances from the P1.
Exactly.
It'll be the winner on the morning show will be either you or me, Gordo, because we respond to our email.
Because we like the P1.
I respond to it too.
All right, what do you think about
he
the
sends
hard line?
15 a day.
Who's going to win on the hard line?
Hammer.
Yeah, Grego. I don't think Rhines responds, does he?
Okay, so I think that Mark sent 40 emails, and here are the results. Here are the replies he got to his 40 emails. Coming in dead last at number 9, Corby Davidson replied to 1 email over the past 2.5 years.
Out of 40?
Out of 40.
That's awful.
By the way, I think he's emailed more than 40 times.
Well, this is just on the chart. This is what it says here.
Right.
It goes as high as 40. Maybe he's emailed more than that, and this is all
40 times a week.
All right, Rhines is 8th on the list. He responded to 4 emails of the 40. Then next is Dan McDowell, responded to 10. Jub coming in at number 6 at 11.
So about 1 out of every 4 you'll respond.
That's about right, because he sends 40 a day.
Psycho Dave, he came in 5th. He responded to 16 emails of the 40. And coming in 4th, Bob Sturm with 18, just 2 ahead of Psycho Dave.
Head out.
At number 3, and here we have a big jump from 18 replies to 36 replies, Junior Miller.
36 out of 40, I replied.
Very good, Junior.
I care about the P1. I, in fact, love the P1.
Well, I do too, except if you email us 40 times a week.
And
it's unnecessary. Don't call me 40 times a week. Why email me 40 times a week?
Why? What is your deal?
He hates email for some reason. I don't know.
I don't hate email. I just think it's overused.
And tied for number 1, the great Gordo.
Oh, wow. A email that builds up Gordo. How surprising during Gordo's Corner.
And Grego.
How many?
39.
Congratulations.
All right, Corby joins us now, who came in dead last, who only responded to 1.
Okay, you guys get this guy's emails, and like Georgie said, there's like 5 a day, and they're mass email, and they're like, there's
they're automatic delete to me.
You know, stories that you're supposed to pass along to friends.
That's not true.
It is too.
Stupid emails.
Yes.
No, they're good emails.
And it's like 40 over the last 2.5 years. Give me a break. There are 40 a week.
You know what?
His sampling size was 40. He's not saying in his life he sent 40, but in his sampling he's taking 40.
Okay.
So if you replied, how many did you replied to, Craig?
What?
36?
You lost.
No.
I won with 1.
No, here's the thing, though, Corby.
Yeah, you did win.
Is that I only respond to personally written emails when someone actually puts a personal thing. If it's just a forwarded thing, I don't even respond to it.
Yeah, and Mark forwards us a lot of jokes, and those are mass reply, and I don't respond to those. I think
every one of his emails are addressed to all of us, though.
That's not true.
Yeah, it is.
No, I get a lot from him that are just addressed to me, and I always respond to those.
Boy, I don't. I hate that guy.
Well, here's the thing. You
Too
may
many
take a little
emails.
flack for it, and I take flack for this. But, you know, a 1-sentence reply is still a reply.
Is it?
I mean, yeah.
Is it?
Or it might not be, but...
Thank you.
I'm just saying that you can take the time to just do a couple words or a sentence, and people may hate you for it, but at least you're responding to them.
I do respond to most emails, but there's just too many.
Right, exactly. And that doesn't... I don't mind responding to emails, but if you overuse it and you abuse it and you send us 40 emails a week, I'm not going to respond to all of them.
Abusing email. And
Every
by the way,
day.
I think it is.
Every day he sends like 3 or 4.
I forwarded this to our general manager, Dan Bennett, and we'll see what he has to think about this.
Good. Thank you.
I'll forward it to him, too. Whatever.
And Corby, just a quick story for you. In Garfield, New Jersey, an 80-year-old woman was mauled to death by 2 pit bull terriers that she had lived with since they were puppies.
Well, then she had it coming.
Whoa.
Huh. Hey, Corby.
You know, that's almost abrasive and over the top.
Hey, Corby.
Hanging up now.
Hey, Corby.
What?
That was a good segment that you guys had yesterday. Fun with real audio. That was nothing like the emergency break of the week.
No, nothing.
The Hardline has become the biggest rip-off show ever.
You know what it is? It's now the Dunham Miller. It's the afternoon version of the Dunham Miller show.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. That had nothing to do with the emergency break of the week.
Oh, yeah, I know it.
It sounded nothing like it.
Nothing like it.
Snake!
You were going over bits from the station
snag.
where something wheels off happened and kind of stopped down the show.
And using our phrase, fun with audio. That's our phrase.
But at least we still have the topic wheel.
Well, they've come up with something like
They've got
that.
the shotgun blaster or whatever it is they call it.
down. You heard that then.
Cobra!
You shot it down?
Yeah, I'm the one who got that kicked off the show because I didn't want it to sound too much like y'all show. They wanted to spin the chamber.
Right.
I was like, no. That was not... Okay, so you're saying that whatever Reiner said yesterday during that segment during that live spot was an emergency brake?
Snipe.
Was it?
I just heard the last two. I heard Norm's burp, and then I heard you play the Rangers press conference call.
Is Norm's burp an emergency brake? No. No one even heard it, and that happened 2 weeks ago.
Could have been.
It wasn't on the emergency brake, was it?
Could have been for the purposes of our argument.
Right.
And what about E-News?
Yeah, E-News is just Muse in the news, retitled.
Or Why Today Doesn't Suck, retitled.
Listen, the whole station's the same. Or we're failing.
And what do we have on the morning show? We have two white guy talk show hosts and a yuck monkey. What do you guys have?
I don't know, a couple of Chinese dudes.
What?
No, you don't have a couple of Chinese dudes.
Which, by the way, is politically incorrect.
No, that's
Orientals.
politically correct. You know the politically incorrect one.
Did you hear about Britney Spears' Japanese stalker?
Yeah, I applaud him.
Isn't that funny?
Don't applaud stalkers.
All right, bye.
Oh, okay, bye, Corby.
Hard nipples. Huh.
All right, thanks, Gordo.
Okay.
Thank you, Gordo. That's Gordo's Corner. It's 9:27 on Sports Radio 1310, the ticket. All right, the 5 guys that the Cowboys have got to cut, the sooner the better, coming up next. Number 1, Billy Cundiff. We have seen enough of Billy Cundiff. You can't have a guy on your team in the NFL that you can't trot out there from 50 or 51 yards. If that's so out of his range, and he's supposed to have a strong leg, or he's just not, he's not going to make him, you can't keep him.
No, and what's his rate at 40-plus field goals? It's not good. And how many 51 and 53 yarders have they turned down?
Yeah, from 40 to 49, I think he's 28% or something like that.
It's awful.
And that has to be at least 50% if you're an NFL kicker. And they don't have time to mess around with him developing or whatever. Cut him, go get a veteran, spend a little money on it. He's number 1.
Norm did this yesterday at the end of our show, and he's talking to us, and he did a couple segments on this. It's really good stuff. You always just kind of look at kickers, and you go, okay, well, we'll get a guy, and we'll get a good coach like Steve Hoffman, see what we can do with him. Why don't NFL teams try to get better kickers? Because it's huge now.
I think it's very valuable. All right, number 2, Robert Thomas. This is a guy whose job is to block. He cannot block. Therefore, he should not be on the team next year. I cannot tell you how many times I've seen him leading Emmett through a hole or leading Emmett around the end and just run by guys he should be blocking, and those guys end up making the tackle. It happens every week.
Know.
He's not a good runner. He's not a good pass catcher. He should not be on the team next
year. And I think he's part of the problem. We talked about the problems on 3rd and 1.
Yeah.
I think he's part of it. They've run right behind him sometimes, and he still gets stuffed.
And we were spoiled because DJ was the best at it. And on 3rd and 1, DJ would blow up a linebacker.
Nope.
And Emmett gets first down. But on 3rd and 1 here, Robert Thomas either doesn't see him or whiffs on him, and the linebacker makes the play.
Yeah.
Number 3, Dwayne Goodrich. They've been scared to cut him because he's a second-round pick. And they don't want the embarrassment of cutting a second-round pick because they've taken a bunch of grief because of their poor drafting. He's always hurt. When he does play, can't play. And if even just a kernel of what Dwan Hawthorne had to say about him, sleeping in meetings and all that is true, just if he's done it once, that's too many times, he's wasting a roster spot.
But I guess wait a little bit on that one since he's probably starting Sunday.
Yeah, you can't cut him till the end of the season.
Golly.
Number 4, Solomon Page. The 2 tackles this year have been really bad. That's part of why this line has been bad. You know, they've played practically every week, right?
Yeah.
But yet this line has just been miserable this year. And Solomon Page so many times has not done the basic, and that is slide to the inside and don't let that guy in the inside. It's a more direct route for the end or tackle to take when you go inside than outside. So cover your inside every week in the game, we see Solomon Page giving up stuff on the inside. I just think he can't play that position.
Plus stupid pre-snap penalties, too.
Yep.
He makes a lot of mental errors. And, yeah, I'm with you there. And, in fact, I think that's one area where the Cowboys ought to visit free agency.
Yep.
It's hard to draft a tackle and get him in there immediately. Okay, keep Flozell Adams on one side because apparently he hasn't played as bad as some people think. But on the other side, go out and get your free agent tackle who can play a little bit because I think Solomon Page has proven that he can't.
And number 5, Quincy Carter. For this team next year, for the backup, they need a veteran. And so what you talked about all training camp.
Yeah,
they needed
I
a
can't believe
veteran
they
this
didn't have
year.
one.
Plus, he's in a situation now where he doesn't offer the experienced backup role to this team. He doesn't want to be here, and they don't want him here. So with all those negatives, you can't possibly bring him back and keep him as your backup. You have got to, if you can get something for him, get something. If not, just cut your losses. And, don't do the Dwayne Goodrich thing, and just because he was a second-round pick, keep him around. Or, don't let pride stand in the way, basically. Get rid of him. Hutchinson's your guy. Bring in a 12-year veteran quarterback who won't blow you a ball game and who's not any threat to Hutchinson, and go from there.
And, I think you can probably work some sort of trade for Quincy. It may not excite fans. It'd probably have to be a conditional pick.
You might get another team's mascot.
No, you could get a draft pick for him and, make it conditional where if he ended up starting for that team that it could, raise the value of it. Someone out there would trade for Quincy Carter.
So those are my 5, Cundiff, Thomas, Goodrich, Page, and Carter. If you have something you'd like to add or subtract from that list, 214-787-1310. Also, I think this goes without saying, Rowdy should be cut next year.
Absolutely.
That goes without saying.
Bring in an animal. Much funnier.
All right, let's take some phone calls on this. Mario and Irving, you're on Sports Radio 1310, The Ticket.
George, Craig, I love you.
Oh, I love you too.
Hey, guys, just a couple. I was looking at it. Troy Hambrick absolutely has to be cut, just for the fact that he's a problem child. And he really doesn't do much. I mean, yeah, he'll break off a 15, 20-yard gain, but when it's, you need a yard and a half, he's not going to get it. He doesn't show up.
But, boy, do you know, though. I mean, since we were supposed to have that breakup and okay, Emmett's going to get work and Hambrick's going to get work, it's like 75% to 25%.
I heard the Bob Sturm show talking about this the other day, and I think he made a good point. He also brought up the fact that they should cut Hambrick because he calls out the defense when the offense scores 6 points.
He is a Hambrick.
He calls out Emmett.
Yeah.
And he brought up the point that he thinks the Cowboys have already decided, and that's why he's not getting any carries.
That could be too.
The stretch, because they know he
fumbles.
He fumbles. They know he's got a big bag of nothing. He can be a loudmouth in the locker room, and he's no longer considered a guy that they think might be the back of the future. And you know what? I wouldn't have a problem with that.
Maybe so. Mike in Arlington, you're on Sports Radio 1310, The Ticket.
Morning, fellas.
Hey.
Morning.
Evan Ekman, he's a failure. And then Tony Dixon. He played 86 plays, no tackles, no assists.
Yeah, and when they drafted him, they thought he'd be a safety who could come up and put a shoulder into a running back and be kind of a Darren Woodson type. He has shown absolutely nothing. And Ebenezer Ekman has been a disappointment.
Yep.
Especially for where he was drafted.
What number pick was he?
11, 13, somewhere in there.
Yeah. Whew. Wow, that's bad.
Nothing.
And how long has this team been looking for somebody on that since Haley left?
Yeah.
They've been looking for somebody on that side to rush the passer.
And as I mentioned earlier, maybe we'll get into this in more detail tomorrow, I think that's another area of free agency is defensive line. Where's the pressure been from the front four?
Yeah. Glover's doing his job, but
yeah,
he's getting double teamed. So
right. No other tackle that can do anything.
Yeah. To Michael in America, you're on Sports Radio. Oh, sorry, Jonathan in America. You're on Sports Radio 1310, The Ticket.
Dent in America.
Morning, boys.
Hey.
Junior, first of all, congratulations on your Big 12 championship this past weekend.
He did not win one.
Thank you very much. I'm ordering a ring.
You worked hard.
Oh, my God.
You worked hard for that one.
I'm ordering a ring.
No, he didn't.
But I think we should spare Quincy Carter's life and sacrifice Dave Campo on your altar.
Okay, if you want to put Campo on the list, that's fine.
Let's do that. I think Quincy could, given a couple of years, be a decent backup, and I don't think the Cowboys need to spend free agency money on a veteran when they need a kicker and maybe a pass rush.
All right, let me ask you this, though. Is it good to keep a guy on your team with the idea that he's going to be a backup when he doesn't want to be a backup?
He'll grow into it, hopefully.
I don't think so. He doesn't want to be here handled. And you know the really odd thing? This is the weirdest thing about the Cowboys, and we have not talked about this for a second. Quincy Carter is still a captain on this team.
Isn't that weird?
And when they come out for pregame warm-ups, the music's pumping, they're all clapping their hands, and Quincy Carter and Emmett and a couple others are out there leading them in, warm-ups.
That's really odd.
Yeah, and at least publicly he's handled it pretty well, and I've even heard, privately some people say, hey, he's handled the thing pretty well, and maybe he's grown up a little bit, but it's just really weird. And I agree with you. If you think Chad Hutchinson is the guy, I don't think you'd keep Quincy Carter hanging around in the shadows. But I still think Quincy can play in this league. I don't know if he can be an all-pro, but I think he can play in this league. And
I think he can make somebody's practice squad. I do.
Well, hey, maybe it is just a backup role. Maybe that's the best he can be, but I think he has some sort of future in this league, and someone will probably give him that chance. 9:46 here on Sports Radio 1310 The Ticket. We'll see what Norm's doing next.
This is The Ticket. All sports, all the time, all week, and all weekend. Ticket weekend. Are huge. This weekend, the high school playoffs roll on with South Lake Carroll and Lufkin in a state semifinal Saturday at 1. Huge. Sunday at 1, it's the Cowboys countdown to kickoff. Then after the boys and Giants, don't miss the Cowboys postgame show on TXCN and The Ticket. Huge. We wrap it up with Sunday night NFL as Arizona battles St. Louis. Ticket weekend. Are huge. Weekends are huge on Sports Radio 1310. The Ticket. www.theticket.com.
At Nissan, we were the first to bring the compact pickup to America. The Nissan Xterra changed the way people looked at SUVs. And the redesigned Nissan Altima raised the bar for the mid-size sedan. Now, it's the next big thing from Nissan, our national year-end event.
Check this out.
Get 0.9% APR financing and $1,250 cash back on new Frontier Crew Cab long beds. Available with 210 horsepower supercharged V6 and the longest bed of any four-door compact truck. Frontier is one tough customer with 0.9 and $1,250 cash back. So, what's next? The end date. Nissan's National Year-End Event ends January 6th. Nissan. Shift performance. Cash back available on new 2002 Frontier. Short-term financing when you buy any new Frontier from dealer stock. Financing subject to NMAC 2 credit approval. Offers end 1603. See dealer for details.
Hey, Larry, where are my shoes?
Larry's Shoes has 7 locations in Dallas, Fort Worth, Bedford, and now there's a Larry's grand opening at the Parks Mall in Arlington. Every one of them is having a major holiday sale right now. Where else can you save 25 to 30% off Cole Haan, New Balance, and Kenneth Cole? No place but Larry's. This week, grab any of these brands, including the New Balance 991 for only $89.95. You'll find some unbelievable buys for under $90 at Larry's Shoes holiday sale. But hurry, this sale ends Christmas Eve. Larry's also has a huge selection of shoes like Rockport, Nike, Timberland, Meslin, and Echo. So don't miss Larry's holiday sale this week. The prices are so low, even Santa's singing.
Hey, Larry, where are my shoes?
7 locations in Dallas, Fort Worth, Arlington, Louisville, and Bedford.
Hi, I'm Ralph Strangis, along with Darryl Ray.
Hello.
And we're here to talk about Kellum Audio, Video, and Appliances and HD TV because, really, there's so much misinformation out there, it's easy to make a $1,000 mistake.
Ralph, an incisively cerebral point as usual.
Thank you.
And because the folks at Kellum want to help you make an informed decision, we're going to try to clear up some of the mystery.
Good.
First off, there are a lot of pricey TVs out there that look like they're HD and they're not. Just because it's plasma and it's digital doesn't necessarily mean it's HD.
Mm-hmm.
And if it isn't, there's no amount of money you can throw at it that's ever going to make it high definition. So do your HD homework, or at the very least, let Kellum do it for you. Every plasma TV they carry is HD TV ready. Come on, they wouldn't sully their name stocking the imposters.
And when you buy at Kellum, you're guaranteed the lowest price, so take it from us. If you don't know your 480 progressives from your 1080 integrated, check out Kellum, home of the 4-hour delivery on Cole Avenue just south of Knox.
I'm Rich Phillips. There's no more hangover next on the Ticket Ticker.
Our next speaker needs no introduction. but we'll hear one anyway.
Glad my business doesn't move this slow.
Same here. I got this DSL connection.
Me too, but it's not just DSL.
What do you mean?
It's Performance Edge with DSL from Verizon.
Challenges, opportunities.
Performance Edge with DSL?
It's new, and it combines just what my business needs. DSL, enhanced local service, and long distance, so we get more done. And everything's on one bill. We get discounts every month, too. And we got up to a $200 rebate when we signed up for a year of DSL.
That's a lot.
Well, call 1-866-569-EDGE.
Introducing Verizon Performance Edge with DSL in Texas. Dynamic IP DSL, enhanced local service and long distance that all works together, so your business works at its best. Call 1-866-569-EDGE today.
Leave it?
I think I'll beat the rush.
Make progress every day. Verizon.
DSL rebate ends 12/20/02. DSL and long distance service not available in all areas. DSL may require additional line, early termination fees, and other conditions apply. Call for full details.
Ticket ticker.
There was some fear that Friday night could doom this team. Ticker brought to you by your Mitsubishi dealers in Santa Fe Cabaret. The Mavericks blowing that 30-point lead in a loss to the Lakers. But they've responded with 2 straight wins, including a 122-95 blowout of the Clippers last night. Don Nelson impressed with the way his players are bouncing back.
The team probably handled it better than I did. That's the worst loss I ever had. But they rose above maybe where I was. I was trying to, prepare them to get over it, and it was harder for me to get over.
Michael Finley and Nick Van Exel share high point honors with 24 apiece. Dirk Nowitzki, 2 points, 2 boards. He leaves at the first quarter with a high ankle sprain. May not be able to play in San Antonio tonight. TCU spoils North Texas' home opener with an 87-80 win in Denton. Mean Green coach Johnny Jones says the play of the Horned Frogs guards in the second half killed them.
They had a great stretch where they knocked down some threes, which were important. Bingo came out and hit a couple of threes because we didn't get out and defend it.
Bingo Marriott's Junior Blunt, Corey Santee scoring all but 8 of the Horned Frogs' points in the second half. Juan Gonzalez not likely to play in the Caribbean World Series this fall season. Wando still not 100% from that thumb injury that limited him to 70 games a year ago. Ticker is service of Diamond Shamrock. Stop by participating Diamond Shamrock locations and register to win Mavs VIP tickets and a chance to meet a player. It's the hottest ticket in town. See details at the Coke display. Diamond Shamrock, keeping you on the go. Our next ticket ticker is at 10:10. Breaking sports news first guaranteed. I'm Rich Phillips, reminding you to remember the time you spend listening to Dunham Miller Mornings on Sports Radio 1310 The Ticket.
Find out what's going to happen in the game on Cowboys game days. Rich Phillips, Mickey Spagnola, and the Ticket guys are on the Ticket's pregame show. The action starts 2 hours before kickoff of every Cowboys game. Brought to you by Chuck Fairbanks Chevrolet.
Sports Radio 1310 The Ticket.
It's 9:53 here on the Ticket. Dunham Miller Show finishing up out here at D&M Auto Leasing. Good folks out here can lease you a car just in time for Christmas. Need to give them a call at some point today if you're thinking about getting the new car and you've never leased before. Just talk to them here. It makes a lot of sense. 817-35-LEASE or 972-35-LEASE. We've been working with them for 7 years, and they will give you great customer service. Tomorrow on the show, we have Troy Aikman at 8:10, our weekly visit with him, and we're going to try some new stuff tomorrow on the show. We got some new ideas that we've been kicking around, and I think you'll find tomorrow's show very interesting.
It's going to be a new sounding show.
Yeah. Yeah, at least for tomorrow anyway.
Yeah. We're going to reinvent the wheel for one day, and then we'll see what happens.
Because our program director is always telling us, hey, reinvent yourself. Take a left turn, every once in a while. So
he hates us. He's always telling us, please change your show.
Your show is so, mundane. It's the same thing every day. Do something new. So we're going to give that a try tomorrow, and we'll see how it works out. We've come up with some original ideas over the last 8 years, and we've been packaging some for a while, and we're going to unveil them tomorrow. So tune us in, and maybe you'll like it. Up next, it's Norm.
So, Junior, you're finally going to get to do that cooking segment you wanted to?
I've always wanted to do that, Norm.
Maybe.
Yep, I've got an apple dumpling tomorrow.
Yeah, cooking with Junior.
Junior's apple dumpling surprise.
Boy, would that be bad radio?
How to pack
Talking about cooking on radio.
How to pack for a bike ride.
Right. Go buy a power bar.
And and why is that such a give-up feature for morning TV shows? Cooking thing. And in doubt, let's do 5 minutes of cooking here real quick.
Have you ever wondered why so many things get done there? I mean, what is attractive about watching a poor chicken cooking for 5 minutes?
I don't know. I guess if there's a guy up there throwing ingredients everywhere and talking in a weird accent, it's good TV.
So I've always puzzled about that. So the theory is, out there are
thousands of people with these little reporters' notebooks.
Yep.
Taking down all this stuff.
I guess
was
so.
Was that a tablespoon or a teaspoon of oregano?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, once again, the bottom line is it's programming for the housewife.
Well, and another thing.
And they love it, and that's why it's on.
Traffic on TV. Have you ever figured that one out?
Yeah, you know what? I've always thought that was weird, but I guess it's for the guy who's about to go to work.
He's watching TV.
And he wants to know, before he even starts up that car, which way he wants to go. And from that point, it does make sense. But yeah, I'm with you. When I first saw it, it made no sense to me.
Yeah, because a lot of times you're reacting to what the traffic reporter says once you're in the car.
Right.
I'm still a little dubious. I mean, people turn on the TV while they're getting ready